Hey everybody, welcome back to the Spinning Rack. I'm here with my boys PD and Kyle. Say what's up, gents.
What's going on?
Yo, we're ready to rock.
Man, we got something to rock about. Variety dropped an article, Crisis at Marvel, Jonathan Majors backup plans, Marvel reshoots, reviving original Avengers, and more issues revealed. Like, what the heck is happening at Marvel? It seems everything's hitting the wall, you know? So, hey, PD, can you give us a little background on this? What's your take?
With the stuff that's going on with every blogger trying to hit the Marvels with like a bag of hot nickels, this came out at the wrong time. This came out, and we have all this stuff. I mean, on the tail end, we had to talk about Blade, but there's just so many things going wrong. But at the same time, they're not setting their sights on Kevin Feige yet. They're talking about the Pandaverse happened, the Marvels, the negative stuff about the Marvels, and now this. So it's just like things are going wrong. We also know Daredevil, they fired the entire team. So there's a lot of stuff going on negatively at Marvel. It's talking about switching out Kang for Doctor Doom. Trying to maybe go to Secret Wars first. There's a lot of
Not
stuff
going
happening.
to happen.
So they're saying, is Marvel in trouble? That's the question.
No, they're not.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you look at it, right? If you look at the glass and you say the glass is half full,
Oh my
or you look
god.
at the glass as half empty. And I think there's people who have always said Marvel is half empty. And so,
All right, no, we're not going to go that route, okay? Because that's pure sophistry. At the end of the day, the glass is half, okay? So it doesn't matter how you look at it; it's
but
only
that's how,
half.
but that's what people look at. And so we have to be there to look at. Look, the reality is Marvel has a lot on its plate. They're being asked to do the same level of success they had 20 for the last, what, 15, 20 years to what it is
Mhm.
now. And it's always hard to follow something that successful, right?
It
Even
wasn't 15. It wasn't 15 years of success. It
it
wasn't
wasn't,
even 10 years. It wasn't even 10 years of success. The people forget Iron Man 2 and how that, what is it? People were throwing a whole bunch of spaghetti at that one. Iron Man, everybody loved. Iron Man 2, that one was met. That was met with lukewarm praise at best. And then these guys built on stuff until they finally got to Endgame. It was a process. Everybody's trying to judge them by like the last 3 years, of Infinity War, Endgame, and say, like, yeah, look at all this. No, there was a process getting there. Not all those films were great, and not all those films were blockbusters. Okay, now it's been what? 3 years, and we're telling me in 3 years' time, these guys are ready to, like, yeah, we got to trash them out. I was like, no, they shot themselves in the foot, yes, but then everybody here, and I'll use PD's term, hot bag of nickel throwing at these dudes at the end of the day. Come on. All right, that was like the same stuff they did with Disney in the 90s. We're like, oh, is Disney going to get ready to close up? It's like, no way. With the properties they have and they know how to tell stories, you got away from your foundation. You get back to your foundation, you should be fine. And they do know how to tell stories. The good thing, I would think, with this article is that we're looking at it and they recognize this stuff is crap. We can't put this stuff out. That's like what DC had to learn. Like, look, we got to protect the brand. We can't just keep putting out this nonsense over here. So we're going to scale back. This is not coming out. This is going to get retooled, X, Y, and Z. And yeah, you have to finally, you get to have a nice big slice of humble pie, okay? But you can write your own ship. But the whole thing with the glass half full, glass, no, that's just pure sophistry. It's half. You got $500,000. You got $500,000. You can't moan about, oh man, it's only 500,000. No, you got $500,000, and we see what they do next. What you got to say to that, Mars? What you got to
uh,
say?
I'm going to continue what I was saying before. It depends on how the viewers are looking at it, right? Because you have people who intentionally think that they want the MCU to fail, so they'll say whatever they have. And we see that everything's been balkanized into practically different groups, like who believes in this, who believes in that. I think that you get this whole thing that people are just trying to down the MCU and say everything that was there before is garbage, is not good going forward. And so all these things, if they can't match the numbers that they're expected to make or make the numbers that they were making before, it is crap. It is horrible. And that's not necessarily the case. You know what I'm trying to say? We hear all this gibberish about how bad all these things are. And don't get me wrong, I think that the quality of some of the properties that have come out have definitely been hurt. It looks like Feige and his team may be a little overstretched. They've been overly what do you call it, ambitious. But I think that was all a nature of the pandemic, where they were forced to put their their shows, ramped that sucker up because Disney was losing money, or not wasn't making enough money, right? And so they wanted to counter what was going on with Netflix. And so now, because things are
No,
not,
they've been trying to beat Netflix for years. That was the whole thing of
they
doing.
didn't have all those TV shows, Petey. And so what happened is now that it's gone, now that they're saying, oh no, the most important thing is profitability, things are swinging back. And we see when they use the metrics of what shows are more popular, Netflix, the Disney Plus shows are not matching the amount of popularity that Netflix shows are. So
How could they? How could they? That was a fool's errand if that's what they were honestly trying to do. How are you going to match that with the
I think it's
infrastructure
different. I
with
think
the
you have to look at
infrastructure
it.
that Netflix has?
No, I think
That's nonsense.
you got to look at it differently. I don't think Disney shows are the quality, and the shows are better than most Netflix shows, right?
Wait,
What's
no,
the number?
wait,
What's
no,
the,
you can't say
what was
that.
Yes,
what
I
was
can
the nu-
say that. I can
what
say
was
that.
the
But
number? What was
you
the
have
number
smaller
one
budget
show?
shows from all over the world.
What was the number one show that debuted on Netflix in the last 2 weeks? Have you seen it? Do you
Uh,
know what it is?
what is
What's
it?
the number one show that debuted on Netflix last 2 weeks?
What is it?
John Gotti?
It was, no, it was a
The John
Spanish
Gotti documentary was number one.
No, it was a Spanish language. It was a Spanish language, like a Lifetime movie called Deadly Deception. It's in a foreign language. It's about some chick. Okay, she finds out her boyfriend is cheating. She gets involved with some other dude. She doesn't know who she can trust. That was their number one debut in film. Okay, a well-made
Wait.
Lifetime.
Wasn't that like the soft core porn film that you watched? That's why you liked it so much.
I don't think it
No, I don't know.
had that on that
Like I
channel.
was saying,
I don't know anything about. I don't know anything.
I think that's what
okay?
they said. So that's why it was such a high.
I
They
don't know
had
anything
Netflix.
about
You've
that.
always got
I
a
don't know anything
reason
about
why
that.
something's
Netflix has an audience for that. The beautiful thing about Netflix is that they do a whole bunch of throws and they throw everything against the wall, and they're going to see who comes up and who watches it and stuff like that.
You were
No,
talking about quality. You were talking about quality.
right, and that's exactly what I'm talking about.
That was
Their quality, exactly what I'm saying. Their quality is not as strong as technically.
Daredevil Daredevil isn't better than.
They're throwing everything to the wall and see what sticks, and it works for them.
You just said softcore porn, okay, and that's better quality than what Disney is doing.
No, it's
What are
just
you
more
talking
popular.
about?
That's not better quality. It's just more popular. I'm saying they're throwing
Well,
a lot of stuff.
obviously,
They drop.
Well, what? Wait. He's saying.
softcore porn.
He's not saying he doesn't.
Wait. He's Mario's saying that Marvel stuff
Mars.
is Mars' stuff is way better than the Netflix stuff, and they're just throwing anything at the wall at once. And I wouldn't agree with that, but they do flood the market. And
Yes.
that's the hard part that Disney is not. Disney thought that their catalog was the thing, and they also bought Fox to say we're shoring up the catalog, so we got stuff for you to watch. And they're like, no, we want.
Petey,
what up?
Petey, did you say flood the market?
Yeah.
Isn't that the Marvel way?
That is the Marvel. You know what? That is the Marvel way. Definitely. That's how Marvel Comics does it. Yes.
Yeah, so they should be winning, but they're not.
Well, they were doing actually the HBO model. Hey, we'll have maybe 2 shows at once. We'll have a Star Wars and a Marvel thing, and we won't put it out. We won't put it out so you can binge. We'll do it weekly because hey, we got to keep them from unsubscribing. And they found out the people still unsubscribe. They still figure, I don't want to do this show. So I'll stop watching the show.
Because the quality wasn't there.
Okay, so getting back to this again before we get
you gotta
to
be
the
like
silly.
you gotta be
Before
like
we
the
get to the
Netflix
silly,
shows.
what I'm
You gotta
saying
get that same quality.
Marvel's putting more money in a smaller group of shows, and it hasn't been as successful as they'd hoped. While Netflix, using that.
Talk about the She-Hulk. Talk about how much money they put in She-Hulk. While you're saying that,
it's over.
How much?
Over $100 million, right?
For the last episode.
I don't know how much it was last, but that's probably where a lot of the budget went. So.
Well, hold on. What were the numbers?
They're saying over $100 million for the shows.
No, I'm not asking you. I'm asking Sam.
Well, they talked about the last episode of the She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. There's someone going to the article. Oh man.
Yeah. Mars will give me some half glass full number or something of that nature. I want the real number.
They said the single episode cost 25 million, right? It costs
Okay.
more than dwarfing the budget of the final season of Game of Thrones.
Whoa, that's a lot of money. And we do not know.
Wait. They said it could have. They didn't say it did. The initial episode was 25, but
It says all the while Marvel's bleeding money with a single episode of She-Hulk costing 25 million, dwarfing the budget of the final season of HBO's Game of Thrones. That
is true. That is true.
Good.
Okay.
VFX sucked. The VFX, where the dragon, they spent years trying to perfect the dragons. They didn't even put in the wolves in Game of Thrones. They're like, forget it. We can't take that. We can't do that one. You know, one of the
That's
other.
being smart, though.
Yeah, and then what were the? And then I don't know what the return was. To be honest, I don't know what the numbers were for She-Hulk. So I don't know if they got any return for that at all.
Yeah, that's quite a good question.
But when you have people intentionally look, the She-Hulk definitely suffered with production issues. But I say the problem though goes back to, you know, there's a fandom that loves to hate Marvel, and they down every single thing.
No, we can't do that. That's like it's fandom. It's fandom fitted. They're the reason why they're just so mean to Marvel. Those bullies.
We all said we like Shang-Chi. We said Shang-Chi wasn't bad.
When did we say that?
But they said the fandom went against Shang-Chi.
When did we say we liked it?
We said it a while ago, bro. You go back to the tape and they'll show that you said you liked it.
When did the fandom go against Shang-Chi? When did they have a problem with Shang-Chi?
I'm just saying the fandom.
I did.
The fandom has been having problems with all kinds of stuff.
Let's
get back to the article because we're totally getting off track. Okay.
I had one problem with Shang-Chi. One problem only. That was it. Other than that,
what was the problem?
Don't ask him the question. Don't ask him. Don't ask him.
When they had him fighting his sister, you know, his sister who somehow magically was able to train herself by watching shadows.
Like the way Splinter learned.
Hey, man, you know, if you watch any
instead of Splinter, we can call her Splintra.
Wow.
If you watch any martial arts movie from the Shaw Brothers, you see the whole Shadow learning how to fight. And then before you know it, boom, 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 you are a kung fu master.
Now you're complaining about montage.
What Shaw Brothers movie were you watching? The bootleg of a bootleg or something? That never happened in those movies.
Of course it happened, man. The poor kid on his own.
He's trying to say the montage is bullshit. When the montage represents months, years of time.
Of training.
Yes.
Of training. Not, hey, I'm going to go watch
one day. Not one. Of course, it's not one day. Of course, it's not one day.
But that's why you were joking about it, right?
Digress considerably. We're back to Marvel situations. Okay.
I'm going to watch these guys train, and then I'm just going to mimic their movements and somehow become just as good of a fighter by just mimicking their movements at the end of the day.
They're just that good. They're just that good. So
yeah,
Petey, remove this page that you have on. You don't want to see that page. Change it to another page, okay? Because they're giving the audience a negative idea of what actually.
Oh, you don't want to have the She-Hulk numbers? Let's have the crash. Let's do this. Let's do that. They want these guys back.
Okay.
All right. So what about Blade? Let's talk about the fact.
Blade. Let's talk about these guys. You brought these guys up. Let's talk about.
They're gonna say that they want to bring these guys to bring them back, and then they'll get to the billion that they want. They're saying the fix is just bringing back all the original guys.
Right, but the question is, do you think that's going to do it? I don't necessarily.
The problem is you got to pay them to come back. You can't say you can't pay them.
Exactly, and if you pay them, the numbers that they already spent, the cost to do these movies are going to be even more expensive. So the return to bring back the money is going to be even harder to make these movies even more profitable.
What did it cost?
$225. You're going to talking about you bring back Captain America. He's probably going to be looking for $40-50 million. So already you're talking about $275-300 million for the movie. If you have multiple of them, it's even worse.
They know what it's making, so they can't say, "Hey, we cap at 20 million." So they got to give these guys some money, and then what are they going to do? At the same time, what was it? They said, you can't, when you know what Robert Downey Jr. is negotiating, you have to follow in line with that. You can't say, "Hey, we're paying him, we're not going to pay them." right? Just to get beat up by Iron Man at some point, to have them argue and that sort of thing. Can't do it. You got to pay everybody, and
Right,
that's
but you can't. It's not. It's going to make the movie uneconomical, right? If you
go
try to make
get
profit,
some nobodies. Go DC. Go totally new nobodies. Bring those characters back, but the notoriety of these guys, the original guys that were in the Endgame, are the ones that they're gonna want to bring back in. That's the easy fix to say bring these guys back. The only thing is that saying, hey, we can't afford you guys, and please help us out. Even though once it gets $1 billion, then they're like, hey guys, great, we're gonna do another movie, same rates as before. Like you can't keep doing that.
Well, I guess Mars agrees. She's got no
no, I
comeback.
don't agree.
Thank you. There we go. Thank you.
PD's looking at my face and he sees what I'm thinking of, and he knows that
What?
I have to be the one who has to be adult in the room and explain to you that it's not going to work, right?
He's
Yes,
looking in your
won.
face and seeing the reflection in your glasses of you surfing the internet for a comeback, and you didn't find it fast enough. So good. We all agree.
Oh, you're a
We all
funny
agree.
guy, bro. I hope you keep your hands on the wheels. Okay, that's all I gotta say.
All right.
The comeback is a whatchamacallit. But so what? Right now is we agree that we don't necessarily think it's a good idea. Let's go down to the Blade thing now, PD.
What? I don't know if there's a picture of Blade in this, but you want to? I'm gonna say my opinion of it. I'm just gonna go full out and say they wanted to make a Black Panther movie, and they're like saying, "Well, we don't know how to sell it. How do we sell a Black Panther movie? He's got an ebony blade. Why not bring Blade in there?" So they got Blade. They might have Blade's daughter. They might have the Midnight Suns. Remember
the ebony blade is with the Black Knight, not the Black Panther.
Yeah, but they having someone appear. Remember at the end of the Eternal,
the Black Knight.
Somebody comes in where the Black Knight is there. They're gonna have the black. They want to use the guy from the Game of Thrones, but they don't know how to make the sell. So they don't want to do a Black Knight movie. So they're doing a Blade movie and having it like a buddy film or something like that. And then we find out it's not a buddy film. It's actually all these other people and Blade. When Blade is your man, is the guy that the actor, you might feel that the actor can get the other actor who's playing the Black Knight can get you there, but Blade is the franchise.
Wait a minute. They don't know how to make a Black Knight movie. They don't know how to make a King Arthur movie. Is that what they're saying?
Basically.
Well, they're not. The thing of it is, they haven't talked about that aspect of it. But obviously, the Black Knight and Blade were going to be together in the movie, and that's the thing that they're not talking about. They're just saying the Blade was going to be the last, like the fourth lead in this last script that was seen. Someone else said, no, that wasn't the script I saw, but someone else saw this script where Blade was basically, I think you said, the Trinity, like Blade Trinity over again, but now it's like, the Ford dynamic, but Blade is the last person on that boat just to kind of sell it. Maybe Blade's daughter, that's.
I think that's my cue. Blade 4, Midnight Suns, and more.
Well, it looks like that's what they're trying. They may want to do, but I mean, you're talking about someone was promised a vehicle with Marvel, Mahershala Ali, where he says you will be the lead character in your own movie, kicking off a series, and then they turn around and say, "Well, you know what? Actually, we're not going to necessarily make you the lead character. You're going to be there. The movie may even have the Blade title, but we're going to include other characters in there." So how do you take something like that? It's like saying Captain America, Civil War, but you are, the tertiary character. It doesn't work.
You do what the girl is. I can take a bus by my damn self.
No, that is so Hollywood at the end of the day, because these guys are like, we don't know how to make this movie. Oh, well, let's look what they did in the last movie. Oh, okay, so let's do that. That is so Hollywood at the end of the day. We don't know how to make a Black Knight movie. You don't know how to make a Knights in Shining Armor movie? Really? You don't? Especially when Sir Percy comes from out of the whole Camelot story. That story is already made for you. You don't know how to do this? I was like, no, you start the story in Camelot, and then if you must, you bring it into modern time, if you will. That's already been done. If you don't know how to do this, the simplest thing to do is go watch that episode of Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends when they get the Black Knight and the Ebony Blade. They did it there. How can you not get this right? You can't get King Arthur right? You guys suck.
Well, they're trying to put too many things at once, and I think that probably is supposed to making these super expensive movies with all these type of things. Probably they should pare it down and get to the character and then build the character ups, right? You had the
You
original
got
Iron Man movies. We're right. The second one wasn't all that great. The third
Second one
one,
of what? Second one of what?
Iron Man. You said.
Iron Man.
Oh, Iron Man.
Third one was the one that
I thought you were
for
talking
me
about
was the one.
Blade. I thought you were talking about Blade. I was about to fight.
The third one of the Iron Man was the one I had a problem with, but the first two, I'm saying, I think it's that they have this, and I'm going to tell you this again, and you guys are going to disagree. The reason these budgets get so big is that the studios are padding those budgets, because when they put $100 million movie in, that means they're going to have to use their own VFX, and they're going to have to use their own studio space, and they're charging top dollar for all that. So they're already making money already on that. And then on top of that, that's why they say, oh, it's always, oh, it costs 300 something million. But they've already recouped some of that cost or waylaid some of that cost based on their own, profits. I mean, the renting the studio space and stuff like that.
So they already getting. We already found out that in the area like Atlanta, they're already asking for discounts from the people. So it's like
Exactly. So
they're already getting discount on over discounts, and people working are getting discounted rates also. Outside,
Right.
it's outside of when the overtime hits. That's when it's like all bets are off. Union comes in.
I mean, come on. Why do you think The Walking Dead loves being out there, right? Why do they film so many shows in Vancouver? Those are cost controls. Hollywood is like, nah, man. You got a motion picture. You got $200 million budget. Blow it.
But the other thing is that they start with the green screen like this here, right? It's like we're gonna stick with the green screen. That means that every shot needs a thing where it's nothing practical. Nothing practical saying, no, we want to be able to control it, put them in a different bag, do whatever we can and what we need. When they test badly, we'll move them out. But then, all right, so you did cut from that. You're saying take Blade and make a small Blade film, like which was the original plan. Even though Blade had a ton of effects in the first one, they made a film that was economical and it worked. And it's like get back to doing that instead of saying how do we make him tie in the Avengers and the Blip into this stuff. Well, we got to tie in what's going on the other side of the world with the Eternals because that was already established. We can't get away from it. It's like, no. Understand that with comic book, way Marvel was, yes, they would always meet, but at some point, your comic book didn't have to run into the Avengers. You could do Blade and not have him, do jokes with Spider-Man and Iron Man and Captain America. I understand it's fun, but you want to get this solid first. So get that, but then you have a actor that's not only established, got an Academy Award, right? How much more do you need to sell this movie? And you say, well, you got a black guy, it's not going to sell. Look, they already had the Black Panther, right? You pushed the Black Panther back for Spider-Man. Spider-Man didn't make $1 million. The Black Panther did, right? So that's the first time he was ever on film. You got Blade, who got 3 films. The other one that Goyer screwed up. And you got a lead actor that people saying, wow. And the guy is tall too. So let's do it.
It shouldn't even be all of that in terms of, oh, we don't know what to do. We don't know how to, with the black character. Blade was out before Black Panther, and that was a successful film franchise. Nobody came and saw Blade or didn't see Blade because it was Wesley Snipes and because he was black. They went and they checked it out, okay, because everybody liked the movie. And the effects were good, and the approach to the vampires wasn't quite the same. They had not seen this whole thing with the Daywalker. The fight scenes were good. Okay, one of the things they did in the first Blade movie that I really appreciated was Blade always seemed to have a plan, even when he got captured. And there's the scene where he's getting captured and they're roughing him up and he's laughing. And he's like, what are you laughing for? And he's like, I'm expecting company. And he realized, oh, he's got the earpiece in. Oh, here comes Whistler. So he was always like 2-3 steps ahead of these vampires at the end of the day. And it made for like a nice, interesting movie. And it harkened back to those vampire hunters from the earlier vampire movies, when these guys would have all these bag of tricks. They would have the holy water, they would have the garlic. The vampire would think they were caught, and then they were like, oh no, I got some sunshine over here. Where? Right behind you. So it really harkened back to all of that stuff as well. So it was just a really good movie. It was well thought out, executed well. That's all you really want at the end of the day. They make all of these assumptions as to what people are going to be turned off to, and like, as instead of remembering what attracts people to a film, well, the film is good. The film is good. It doesn't have to be excellent. It has to be good. And if it's good, other people say, yeah, this film was good. You should give it a try. And before you know it, you got a hit on your hands. But first, you focus on the story, not all this other mishugash. You focus on the story.
Well, we go down to that. I think there's also, if you look at the what is it? Not the Undertaker, what's the name of the movie? The vampire. There's a segment of the population that likes vampire movies, right? And so Blade definitely falls in there. And I think Marvel needs to say, hey, we have all these different type of characters who do different type of things, right? We don't have to do a gigantic event film, a gigantic event movies, and do these to get these work. Bring them into the universe in essence, but let them do their own thing. So like the Blade movies, the first one went for $45 million. There's no Marvel movie going for $45 million. The last one, Blade Trinity, went for $65 million. That's how much it cost to make. You know, there are no Marvel movies costing that little, right? So if you
Mars, come on, man.
What?
Come on.
So
when was that Blade movie made? Are we really gonna have to have an economist lesson right now? Understand inflation? Of course, no movie's going for $45 million from Marvel. Come on.
You.
We know that's not the case.
So don't worry, these guys don't know how to do math, so let's stop.
They already commented last time when you didn't factor in inflation.
They're not factoring inflation. When they do the top 100 films, they don't factor in inflation. They just tell you the numbers that it is, and you deal with it.
They're talking about an older movie. They say in this movie that would be this and this time.
What? So now every time we talk about numbers, we got to factor in inflation? No.
If you're gonna bring up the budget from Blade, which was what it was a 1990s movie. Yes, 98? You're gonna have to do that. 1998. You're gonna factor in inflation.
So let's if you want to do that, add another $20 million. The inflation hasn't been 100%.
No, you can't do that.
So that's still $65 million. Okay,
you can't do that. You got to do the maths. You got to do the maths. If you're not going to do the maths, we don't need to talk about it. And we're not doing the maths.
Oh no, you're not going to get me out like that. That's crazy, bro.
But what are you trying to do? What are you trying to look for now?
Well, since I have to do the math, right? I got to do the math. That's what you're saying.
No, what's going on? We're going to make time on this video. I think we're over time. We don't need to pad this out. We're good. Okay, we don't need the maths.
Well, you're the one who said I need the math. You literally just said it.
Look at what the movie has. Opening scene. Right? You have graphics there. You have all of the vampires he slaughters and blows. That's all effects there, right? Then you have all the pyrotechnics, the destruction, and then you have the blood monster, right? You factor all that in. That's effects throughout. With at the same time, they have some quiet scenes in between there. So that's your cost. And if you have it, a single character is not a group. So then you say, all right, so that would be, you'll try to look at a movie that has that where Iron Man might be more because you always have him in a suit. So then you always have to do stuff like that. So Iron Man, of course, would cost more. I can't stop him. Look at him.
Yeah. So the $45 million movie would have been $84 million. It's still under $100 million. Booyaka. All right.
That means
inflation
make it 100 million and cut all those other characters and just do a Blade versus, because they already did the versus Dracula and everyone else under the sun and some wrestlers at the same time. So you can't
go after werewolves. Go after demons.
Nah, he's still not. What is it? Your maths are still off, man. Because what do people get paid? You're just trying to do a dollar for dollar thing. What's the salary that Wesley Snipes is getting then, and what would somebody get today in a leading man role in that type of situation?
Are you saying I'm a bean counter? I'm only looking at the numbers? I take offense.
Yep.
I take offense.
I'm glad you brought up the bean counter thing. That makes sense.
Beanie, back me up, bro.
I'm not backing you up.
Okay. If Wesley Snipes is an established, and this is not a new Jack, okay? This is not unknown talent. He got signed, he was probably going to get top dollar for it. So what did he get paid? Okay, and then what does somebody in the same situation get paid today? Then you can start getting your budget together. Because you're just trying to do, okay, this was $1 in 1991, and this is $1 today. So see, I wasn't that far off. You're still well off. Well off.
Not off. The numbers roll. If you keep the cost under control, you can definitely sell something to the public.
Here we go.
Quality, of course. I'm always.
You already have a wax script, right?
There we go with the script, guys.
You got a wax script, right? And they already said it. They already know whichever script that they got, it's not working. And it's not working for the lead person. So that's gone. So they already started on the wrong foot saying, hey, we can put out whatever we want. We can have Blade, but we don't want to be stuck with Blade. Why don't we have Blade's daughter? Isn't Blade's daughter a character? Do we have Blade's daughter in what's the name? In Black Knight. That'll work. I think that's going to be the way to go. and then we're gonna add in Ms. Marvel. Let's throw her in there. So our last thing we got to get into this Marvel thing. This wasn't in the article, but someone's already ready to sing the praises of the new Daredevil already, and it they're cooking. They're effing cooking right now. They just fired everybody, the entire team, and they're already talking about their cooking, doing season 2 of the Netflix show, which had Daredevil versus the Punisher. So it's like, hey, we're gonna do what sequels do. We're gonna give you what you like beforehand. But they're already singing the praise, sending out the praises like they fixed it. When they're like, the showrunner saying they fixed it, adding in the Punisher when it's just like, hey, this is damage control. We know it.
Yep. That's part of the reason why we're getting all these articles now. We're getting these leaks because they're firing all these people so everybody can talk.
Look, I mean, look, they did what, 2 or 3 episodes?
No, they did. I think they did more than that. They're going to keep some of the
6 to 8, usually 6 to 8 episodes, right? So
they said that the first 4, the action doesn't start until after the fourth issue, the 4th episode. I think it was mainly like lawyer stuff. So
yeah, that's right. So
that's trash.
You need to follow. But the question is, how did that even get past the Feige group, whatever the group is that they look at, that they waited until the 4th episode for there to be a catch? That's nuts.
It didn't get
that lawyer stuff is so intriguing.
It didn't get past the Feige group. When Feige saw it, he was like, "What the hell is this?" It got past everybody else though. He's like, "Whoa, what do you do? There's no action until after the 4th episode." Oh yeah, this is gonna be like Boston Legal. What are you talking about? William Shatner's on this show.
Well,
out of here.
I think I'm pretty sure he had an overview, and then he's like, "All right, you guys feel as strong," and then he saw it, and he's like, "You gonna let me get you? I can't even go as far as I want to go with this, but you're gonna let Jeff Loeb look better than me now? They're gonna be like, we're Marvel. Everyone said we're doing it right, and I don't want this yellow costume no more. You don't see him in the yellow and red anymore," which wasn't terrible. I didn't have an issue with it, but they're like, "Nope, we're not doing none of that. None of that stuff. We getting back to what they like, but we're not saying Loeb. Nobody say Netflix. Nobody say Jeff Loeb, because we're not hiring them back. And all the things should be to me. So they don't bring none of those people back. No Ike, nobody. No Loeb, no New York office, none of that. I beat them. And now you're going to make me? I'm going to look bad? Nah. Y'all fired. All of y'all. Everybody out. But salvage what you can. We need some B-roll. Make some B-roll out of that. All the boring stuff that we can use, you put it not on the cutting room floor. Keep it on the side so we can use it, but sparingly.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. That's pretty much exactly how it went down. Like, what is this? And then somebody has to explain to me, how did Daredevil get put into that red and yellow costume? Who made that decision? It's not that I have a problem with the costume. I've always been a fan of the Wally-Wood. What is it? Not the Wally-Wood.
That's it.
The Wally-Wood art on like issues 4 or 5 going through 7. I love the way that it was rendered there. So I like it when it comes up. Frank Miller, I thought did a nice thing on it too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, how did he get in this costume? Who said, okay, this is a great idea? At the end of the day, we're gonna make him She-Hulk's boy toy, and at the same time, we're gonna put him in this costume. I'm like, I don't understand. It really doesn't make a lot of sense. They do know Matt Murdock is blind, right? So the whole idea of him thinking I need to change is probably not gonna happen. And then, I don't know. They're kind of off on the Daredevil costume as it is, because 3rd season, my biggest gripe was he spent most of the time in that black outfit because people are like, oh yeah, everybody really likes the black outfit. I'm like, yeah, but then Bullseye was running around looking better in the outfit than he was.
Well, that was really good. It was really good.
Yeah,
so look, but I think one of the things we're probably going to be missing here is that if we're doing the showrunner from the Punisher, I mean, we were talking about that Punisher series was brutal at the end. I don't know if you guys watched the battle.
I watched season 2 of The Punisher. The hard part was the story was fine. Hard part was adding in the girl in there, but it was okay. I didn't have it.
I liked it, and I think
I enjoyed this more than any of the Marvel superhero stuff. So,
right, but I'm saying that stuff was brutal. So I mean, if they're trying to, it can't be the same thing as the what the typical Marvel TV show is, right? Because it tends to be a little light on the violence. I mean, there's violence, but it's not like here
He
you're
wants to
talking about,
outdo Jeff Loeb. He wants to whatever was because the second season of Daredevil was a lot of fun, and the Punisher was great. They're gonna take that up a notch, and so you look at it and say, yeah, okay, they did better than the Netflix series. They want to be able to say that, hey, we got something and it's better than Netflix. They don't want to sit around and be like, I like the Netflix better. They don't want to be stuck like that. They want to be like, yeah.
and I think is that we got to get away from some of the older stories. There's a lot of great stories. They had a great one with Chip Zdarsky for Daredevil. They can incorporate some of that, him, going to jail, even having Electra in there. There's a lot you can definitely do there, and I think that we constantly going back. They don't. I don't know. I'm just confused by why they don't want to use some very good stories that we already have there, right? And if they don't want to go all the way back and go to Frank Miller stories, they don't want to go. They already done Born Again. Why not try and use some of the more current things that they can get around?
Because they don't want to. Because they want to do their own stories. They want to retell the best stories, like the Miller stuff, and then they want to tell their own stories. They think that they got good stuff to come, to come with to the people, and they're like, hey, I want to tell my own story, except the Miller stuff. Then they're like, oh yeah, I want to do my slant on it, my version. That's where it is. Otherwise, you got what is it? You got over Daredevil's from the 60s. You got over 60 years worth of stories that you could go adapt, prune, say, okay, let's bring this out over here. They don't want to do that. Everybody wants to tell their own story, even if it's bad.
Well, I would also say that they going back to doing their own stories. That was the idea when they threw out the title Born Again. They were like, our Born Again is the blip. So we're going to have Daredevil, dealing with the blip, and that Karen and Foggy are now like 20 years older and they're in the nursing home, so we can't use them anymore. It's like, that was the idea. Like, wait, I don't even know, but probably I'm saying they're going to cut out the blip, but I can't be that lucky. So it's probably going to have some blip, but it's not going to be Born Again, the blip being the Born Again part of it. So, yeah.
The blip?
It was only a 5-year blip, right?
Idea ever.
It was a 5-year blip.
We can't keep doing stories about the blip.
The blip is the worst idea ever. They should have just done what they normally do. Everything just goes back.
Thank you.
Everything just go back to the time period when it started. Because you got this ridiculous. They had this ridiculous stuff of 12-year-olds, and they come back and everybody's 17, or it's just ridiculous at the end of the day. They were trying to do it with Spider-Man. I was like, nobody's really following this except for the really, really deep rabbit hole in nerds. It was dumb. You should have just been, hey, we snapped our fingers, we put it right back where it was. It's like, no, we can't do that. Why? Because Iron Man is going to lose his daughter. What? Just snap my finger. The daughter's here too, okay? I tried to bring back Nat, but I couldn't do it. All right. Okay, we got it. You guys want to have real world consequences for this stuff, even if it makes for horrible storytelling, which it has. Don't do it again.
I'm not necessarily against it, but you have to have a plan that works. And it just seems as though this plan goes all over the place. You have the blip, the echoes of the blip. You have the multiverse issues, and it just seems like it's just all over the place. If you're going to do something like that, it has to be something consistent. And I think they tried to do that with the Kang. And so this is the 4th issue we're going to talk about, the whole Kang, where they try to bring everything with the multiverse around Jonathan Majors, right? And so now the issue is, since Jonathan Majors is now going to trial, right? They were hoping they could beat it, or they can kick it out of it. But now, and we all know, they're trying to get Jonathan Majors to go to trial or make a deal. And we know that if that happens with Jonathan Majors, it's a wrap, right? If he gets convicted or if he makes a deal. So this is why the studio is now reappraising why they want to do something. But they spent a lot of time, money, and effort trying to map out the whole Kang.
Huh? What's the situation? I thought the situation with Jonathan Majors in terms of his legal trouble was wrapped up. Didn't they already say this chick lied?
It seems the prosecutors already come and say, even if the cops arrested her for the stuff, they're not prosecuting her. So basically, and they're still going to trial with Jonathan Majors. So,
but she's going to jail, which puts pressure on her to say something about him.
No pressure, because now
I don't understand this at all.
There's no pressure.
But they arrested her.
Yeah, they arrested her because what happened as a procedure. But there's no.
Where do you go when you're arrested? Home or jail?
She went to jail and then she came back out. That's it. There's nothing there holding her. If they said we're arresting you, we're going to prosecute you, that's a different ball game. But they're not prosecuting.
So she's not changing her. She's not going to say he did X, Y, Z. Well, even though this nutty stuff is happening, and they just want him to settle. They want him to settle so they can have a win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at this time, it doesn't look as though Kang is coming out. Is doing well. I mean, any of you guys saw Loki? See how he did on Loki?
I'm not caught up.
Nope.
I saw the first 2
I'm not caught up on
episodes.
it.
I'm gonna watch Loki this weekend.
Okay, so I mean, we're gonna do a review this week coming up then. But
Man, just his whole situation is like it's ridiculous prosecution at the end of the day because you don't have a reliable witness. You don't, and you know you don't have a reliable witness. But it's just like Petey said. Like, okay, maybe if we hold out long enough, this guy will settle or something. He's like, I can't afford to settle. I got my career and stuff to think about. He's like, look, this is either an ACD. Okay, it's either an ACD or not guilty. It's one of the two. It's like they honestly want to put this chick on the stand because that's the only way they're going to get a win.
well, no, they're saying that they're supposedly there are others, and I think that's the key thing there. There are others, and so that's what they.
Yeah, right.
That's not going to relate to this case. How are you going to try saying, "Hey, we're going to bring this story from London. We're going to story these people that he used
I don't
to
know. I
work
mean,
with"?
it looks as though they're going to say something about. I mean, from what I read in the news and stuff like that, they're going to say that there was other cases of this stuff happening. So that's what they've said in the news. And so
I'm saying if you have that, well, in a case that's like a felony case, they're saying what are the facts of this case, not a history of that. You have to say they can say this stuff, but is that related to the facts of the case? And if the jury decides, well, he has this history, we should just put him in jail anyway. We should charge him because we don't want him to get away with it. That's not the way the thing works. You have to deal with just the facts. If that's an actual fact of what happened to her, then you do it. You don't just say, hey, he has this history, so maybe you guys should just put him in jail forever or give him that sort of thing.
And those type of verdicts don't stick. Just look at Cosby. Okay, you can't just come over here. We're gonna throw all this stuff at this dude, so on and so forth. Like, no, he's gonna get out on appeal. Okay, because you didn't have a case to begin with. You had to come over and manufacture one.
Dude, we don't know. Probably the prosecutors have more evidence than we can see. So right now, we don't know what's going on.
No, they don't.
They're also hiding evidence. If
they have more evidence, he would have settled. Okay, if they have more evidence, he would have settled. If they could nail him, they would have nailed him already. He would have settled. That would be the end of it.
I'm 100%. I believe this should have been dealt with a while, but it's lingering and just damaging. And the longer it lasts, the harder it gets for Marvel to keep him as the the major guy there, right? So
no, they're just playing the pro. What is it? They're just playing like the pro. I mean, like the average, like an average criminal case, in New York City is something like 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is for like something just like assault. Like you got into a fight and you split this dude's lip. And between like the first hearing and if somebody needs a stay or whatever, it can take up to a year to resolve that. Okay, and that's just an average person. And that's just an average person at the end of the day. And then here with him, they don't want to look like they're cutting him loose. Like, oh, we don't have enough thing to prosecute. Like, no, he got off because he's a star and so on and so forth. They're like, all right, so we got to come over and do something. But they got nothing. If they did, they would want to expedite this. And he's probably saying, look, I want a speedy trial. They're like, yeah,
well,
he
needs a speedy trial, but they don't necessarily have any incentive to do a speedy trial. So that's the thing.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, hey, you're gonna wait your turn like everybody else. You don't get special treatment simply because he's like, no, let's get this done. They're like, no, you're gonna wait. You're gonna wait until something turns up and helps us. And if nothing turns up and helps us, okay.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So I mean, I don't know what to say. But let's look at what are the alternatives? I mean, they're talking about Dr. Doom. What's your take on that, Petey?
I'm not really with doing Dr. Doom as a villain for everybody. You can, if you do the Fantastic Four. They're pushed to do Dr. Doom sooner, but yes, he's a Fantastic Four villain.
Secret Wars? We don't remember that?
You don't get to that Secret Wars after how many umpteen years of Marvel being out there that they could do this kind of Secret Wars that blended all the other crossovers into one thing. Like you don't do that day 2
years.
They're trying
It
to
was
do
22,
a big
22
bang where they
years.
bring everybody else into it, and then where they need somebody as a catalyst. Someone is the
No,
beyond the
you,
right
you can't.
character.
No, you can't use a doctor. You can't use Doctor Doom as your catalyst. He's not even a Fantastic Four villain yet.
Okay, so
And
so
before we
so
got to
if the
Secret
goal,
Wars, Secret
yeah,
Wars was it was 22 years, 22 years of Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom stories before we got to anything that would even been plausible to see
okay,
him act like that. So no,
Doctor Doom is like the Easter Bunny. Everybody knows him. All right, so we don't need to rehash the whole history of Doctor Doom. We can bring Doctor Doom in as the main bad. All right. How else are you going to
who's
get the X-Men in? How else are you going to get the Fantastic Four and Silver
Doctor
Surfer?
Doom get you the X-Men?
I'm just saying the whole point I think is that from what I was reading is that they're talking about having like a big bang and having the big battle world or the big secret wars type of opening, bringing all these different groups together or whatever. And so you need somebody who is the pivotal villain. Kang, which made sense. The multiverse with different heroes and stuff was the glue that held a lot of that stuff together. But if he's not there, come on, who else is it going to be? Memphis though? Huh?
when you say everybody, who's everybody? You talking about comic readers? Because the general public doesn't know who Doctor Doom is.
I think there've been enough stories about Doctor Doom. There's been a Fantastic Four movie with Doctor Doom.
3 movies, and they're not.
And they've
weren't
had
that
animation that's been out there for years. I think people have a general idea of Doctor Doom.
No.
I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
I think you guys are wrong. But getting back to it, we still need somebody. So instead of being the party of no, tell me then who should be that.
No. How did we get to Thanos, right? We got from a sneak peek, another sneak peek, him having a part in the Guardians movie, and then next thing you know, we slow build to say, all right, we can't wait for another Avengers movie, and they hit it and gave us that sort of thing. But there were bits to show him in there. There's been no Doom, so you can't be like, one movie come out, next movie Doom is like, Avengers have to get back together. Dr. Doom is going to destroy the planet. No, he just won. You can't do that.
You can write anything you want to write. Doom starts off as the Beyonder or as God and decides he wants to
Here we go. We're going to the Beyonder.
Look, all right. We're not going to
get the cosmic idiot into the story so Doom can take his powers. Come on, man. We're not doing the Beyonder. Even though they're going to do Beyonder at some point.
You're saying you don't want to do it, but I'm saying right now, how do you introduce the other heroes? They only have, unlike you guys who think these companies
just
have
do a movie.
To throw away. They want to bring it in a way to explain it. They're not doing a separate movie so far, right?
The Avengers Initiative didn't need to have, hey, we found Thor's hammer. We've been like, what do you mean? They didn't, the Thor, even though I was okay with the Thor movie, and when I watch it now, I'm like, oh, this is not bad. But at the same time, it's like this whole idea that they were looking, they couldn't wait for Thor to come back. Like, they didn't know who he was. They're like, they could be, oh, we got this artifact. It was set up like they've been looking for it forever. So that sort of thing, that didn't necessarily work out. So you could have just done a Thor movie. You could have done it like the first issue of Thor, having the guy come in there, he finds the cane and turns into it and just starts kicking behind, right? But I like the idea of having learn humility and this, that, and the other. But they were trying to connect it to the other stuff they had, and that other stuff they had didn't necessarily work out that well because the Hulk was like really the start of doing that stuff. And it wasn't that.
I still haven't heard who should be the guy that who's going to take over.
I'm not ready to. I'm not ready to do any more multiverse. I'm not ready to replace either. So I'm not really.
Well, right, but this is what's happening now. You don't want to. You can close your eyes and just let it happen. But you need to.
I want to just do a movie. I just want to do a Fantastic Four.
But they already have the
or an X-Men. You need money? Do an X-Men movie. No, they're going to do a Deadpool movie where they kill off all of the other stuff from before so we can say, we're going to finally say goodbye to this and make fun of it at the same time. And then at the end, you'll see, X-Men to me. And then we got the X-Men in. They did it. It was such a brilliant way. It was so brilliant how they brought it in.
All I hear is hate dripping from your voice. Okay, hate of the fandom. That's it. The fan hating Marvel. Okay, I'm not appreciating it. I don't like it.
All right.
A simple question is being asked.
I'm not ready to replace anybody.
Forget about where you're ready. Think of yourself now. You are running
Gonna make me do
No.
the whack high evolutionary that you already got set up that got crushed by all of the by
We're
the.
not doing no high definition. He's
You
fine.
got a villain, right? And he's supposed to be, and he can get to, and then he's actually a villain. He's not a guy. He's just a straightforward villain. He's crazy, and he's
And if
not
you
even
want to
that
go,
smart.
why don't you?
He's
Why
not
not
even as
just
smart as the real one. He had to use a raccoon. The raccoon had to do all the work. So you got a good, nasty villain that comes up and he's created the whole planet. No, actually, Rocket created the whole planet. I apologize because the High Evolutionary is not smart enough to do that. But you got a full scale villain that people like. People have said that guy is better than Jonathan Majors. Oh wow, this is way better. I don't know about that. He's just what we would expect from Magneto, someone who's just bloody minded, that sort of thing. But hey, there you go. You asked me, I gave you an answer. High Evolutionary. He's set up already, and
I
he's.
hate you. I hate you. I hate you.
What? Are you asking? It was a real one. It was a real thing.
Cal, can you please just tell me something more reasonable than this guy? I mean, even use Kingpin.
As a what? The one from the animated one?
I don't know, the Kingpin who's been infused with the power of the Beyonder, possibly. Makes more sense than what you're talking about. Cal, please. I know you're backing me as usual. Yes, Mars. I definitely agree with you. I will go forward. The Kingpin is a great idea.
Who do you have? You're saying Doctor Doom is the way to go, right? Just have a full-on movie where Doctor Doom comes in and wins and destroys everything.
What are you going to use the Kingpin as?
He's embodied with the power of the Beyonder.
The Kingpin's going to be what? He's going to be a Doctor Doom level villain? I mean, no. The best you could do with the Kingpin is if you wanted to put him through paces with like Daredevil, Spider-Man, and those the street level guys. And even then, Daredevil and Spider-Man could pretty much handle him. If at the end of the day, his machinations are just more because he gets into the legal system, and we have these laws, and he's able to manipulate them, a la Trump or something. But he's not going to be able to do that other stuff. So forget about the Kingpin.
We were just using that. It was just an example of
here's the problem.
Evolutionary. Okay?
Here's part of the problem that Marvel has right now. You did a really successful job with Thanos, and of course you want to top yourself, but you really don't have enough stories. You really don't have enough stories where it becomes this thing where we got to bring everybody together in order to tackle this one guy. For the most part, the heroes are usually okay to tackle these particular things on their own. The Fantastic Four didn't have to team up with the Avengers, to take on Galactus, and the Avengers never needed the Fantastic Four to take on Thanos, or to take on Kang at the end of the day.
So there we go. Exactly. And the other thing is that Kang isn't necessarily what they were going for. Kang is the guy that's standing in the middle of the multiverse. The multiverse was what they've been building this entire time, and it's not working out. It's not working out for them. I think
the whole purpose of the multiverse was just a vehicle to get us from phase 4 to phase 6. And then the point is, once you introduce the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, it will probably collapse.
How many paper bags did
That's the whole framework of the whole thing. So that's what I've exactly said.
Back
you
to the
set up to get from this
thing
to get to the next stage. The multiverse is the main thing. So
please wait. System processing. Please follow the instructions on the pin pad.
Cal?
Mute, Cal.
Yeah, what's up?
Mute. We can hear your code.
Oh,
coming out to the world.
Sorry about that. I'll be right back.
So yeah, if you're doing multiverse, right? So you can just plug in the villain. You can have maybe him be a usurper, have the bloody-minded high evolutionary, stab black on black crime, stab Kang in the back, and the next thing you know, and he's like a Kang killer. And he kills all of the cross-time Kangs. You set up the cross-time Kangs. Now we can't do none of that. Maybe it is. That's the thing. They're looking at it. If they're talking about not even using Kang, replacing the actor, they're not even buying into the whole multiverse anymore. They're seeing the multiverse as the problem too.
Well, that's a good point there. And I thought about that. Well, they can keep Kang because technically Kang he can make him into anything they want to make him into, right? He doesn't have to be Jonathan Major. You could put another actor in there and boom, But we know the blowback is going to be if they change him from African American to somebody else. But it shouldn't matter. Kang can be his throughout the timeline has been many different people and looked many different ways.
Even
So
many
that-
different
No,
colors.
No,
Many
he
different
hasn't. He's
colors.
been white the entire time. He was white the entire time. No, he wasn't. Ramatut was white. So was Kang, Immortus. They were all white.
All right, well, I'm just saying we can change it. You know what the hell? Time changes from people from
Really?
one-
We're gonna
Yeah,
change.
yeah.
We're gonna change some black people to white. I'm waiting to see that one.
I know it's going to be a tough one.
Now, Spawn. There we go. He uses power to turn human. They turn into a white guy.
But getting
As a
back to
black
the-
guy, his face was burnt off. So put those together as you may.
That was a joke of the devil.
yes, a very big.
That's a bad joke. That is a bad racist joke of the devil.
It's horrible.
that racist devil.
Please cut that.
Devil, the devil. I
So
like
going,
what you did there,
going
Cal.
forward, going forward.
The idea with Spawn was that was supposed to keep him from connecting with his wife. He's like, he's gonna come back. He's gonna be this white dude. She's gonna be like, "Who's this white dude after him?" He's like, "I can never get close to her again because I'm white."
He's like, you know that Spawn character you like there? That's a black man, right? That was Simon Fallen. Pat himself on the back. I created a black guy. You can't see his face. We don't know that he's black. You just have to tell him the dialogue.
These guys are like, "What? I can never love this dude.
All right,
How can she
once
ever love me
again,
as a
I
white
think-
man?"
We're driving to the rails once more. Can we get back on?
That white guy is way hotter than Al
So I
Simmons.
guess okay, we got nothing else to say. So hey, thanks again for agreeing. Marvel just needs to get a little bit back on track, and they will be back to the fold. Spirak
Is out.
Ouch.